The billionaire's daughter had spent 11 years trapped in a wheelchair. Doctors had told her mother to stop expecting a miracle. Then one afternoon, a struggling mechanic noticed something nobody else had ever noticed. He didn't look at the girl and see a disability. He looked at her wheelchair, and after examining one tiny piece of metal, he quietly said, "Ma'am, your daughter may not be the problem." The billionaire mother froze, because if the poor mechanic was right, her family had spent millions of dollars treating the wrong problem. And what happened 3 days later left her crying in the middle of his dirty little garage. 32-year-old Ryan Mercer owned the smallest auto repair shop on the edge of Houston, Texas. The sign outside read, "Mercer Auto and Repair." The paint was peeling. One of the garage doors refused to close properly, and Ryan's best toolbox had been passed down from his father. He wasn't rich. Some weeks, he wasn't even sure whether the garage would survive another month. But there was one thing Ryan had that money couldn't buy. He cared. If an elderly customer couldn't afford a full repair, Ryan found a way to help. If a single mother needed her brakes fixed before payday, he let her pay later. And if someone brought him a machine everyone else had given up on, Ryan didn't immediately say no. He always said the same thing: "Let's see what's actually wrong first." One Thursday afternoon, Ryan was underneath an old pickup truck when a convoy of black SUVs pulled up outside his garage. He slid out from underneath the truck and frowned. The first SUV was worth more than his entire garage. Then the rear door opened. A young girl slowly emerged. She was 17. Her name was Lily Hart. She had long brown hair, bright eyes, and a beautiful smile that couldn't completely hide the exhaustion behind it. She was sitting in a customized wheelchair. Behind her came her mother, Victoria Hart, one of America's most powerful billionaires. Victoria owned hotels, technology companies, and a massive chain of luxury properties across Texas. But none of that mattered when she looked at her daughter, because Lily couldn't walk, not since she was 6, and Victoria had spent 11 years trying to change that. Victoria approached Ryan. "Are you the owner?" Ryan wiped his hands on a rag. "Depends who's asking." Victoria almost smiled. "Our SUV overheated." Ryan glanced at the vehicle. "Give me 20 minutes. Her security guard looked offended. "Do you know who she is?" Ryan shrugged. "Someone whose SUV is overheating." Lily laughed. It was the first genuine laugh she'd had all morning. Victoria looked surprised. Ryan checked the SUV while Lily waited near the garage entrance. After a few minutes, he noticed something. The wheelchair's right rear wheel was making a strange clicking sound. Ryan walked over. "Can I take a look?" Lily hesitated. "It's nothing, it always does that." Ryan crouched beside the chair. He examined the wheel, then the frame, then the brake assembly. His expression changed. "Who adjusted this?" Victoria immediately became defensive. "Some of the best specialists in the country." Ryan looked up. "I wasn't criticizing them." He touched the wheel carefully. "I'm just saying this isn't sitting correctly." Lily looked at him. "What do you mean?" Ryan pointed toward the frame. "Your weight is being pushed slightly to one side." Victoria frowned. "Could that cause pain?" "Over time, absolutely." Lily stared at him. "You can tell that just by looking." Ryan smiled. "Cars tell you what's wrong if you know how to listen." Lily looked down at her wheelchair. "Maybe people don't." Ryan didn't answer, because he understood exactly what she meant. Ryan asked Lily a few simple questions. Where did it hurt? When did she feel uncomfortable? Which direction did she lean when she became tired? Did one leg feel heavier? Lily answered every question. And the more she answered, the more Ryan became convinced. Her wheelchair had been built around her medical condition, but nobody had built it around how she actually moved. Ryan explained that he couldn't treat her condition. He wasn't a doctor, but he could redesign the mechanical support around her body. Victoria immediately shook her head. "No." Ryan stopped. "I understand. We've spent millions," Victoria said. "Doctors, therapists, engineers, specialists, experimental equipment." "I know. You're a mechanic. I know that too. So why should I trust you?" Ryan looked at Lily, then back at Victoria. "You shouldn't." Victoria blinked. Ryan continued. "Trust me only enough to let me inspect the chair. If I can't improve it safely, I'll tell you." Lily quietly said, "Mom." Victoria looked at her daughter. Lily's expression wasn't hopeful, it was simply curious. That somehow frightened Victoria more, because hope had hurt her daughter before. Finally, she nodded. One inspection. Ryan smiled. One inspection. Ryan didn't sleep that night. He removed the wheelchair's detachable components and carefully examined every joint. He measured angles. He checked pressure points. He tested the wheel resistance. And then he discovered something. A small bracket underneath the seat was forcing Lily's body slightly backward. That meant every time she tried to shift her weight forward, the chair resisted her movement. Ryan stared at it. That's why. He grabbed his notebook. For hours, he drew, then erased, then drew again. He wasn't trying to create a machine that would magically make Lily walk. He was trying to give her body the support it needed to do more of the work itself. At 2:17 in the morning, Ryan finally leaned back. He had an idea, a completely different support system. Lighter, more flexible, adjustable, and built around Lily rather than forcing Lily to adapt to it. But there was one problem. He couldn't afford the materials. Ryan looked around his garage, then at an old motorcycle frame sitting in the corner. He smiled. Sorry, buddy. He started dismantling it. The next morning, Victoria arrived expecting Ryan to say it wasn't possible. Instead, she found him covered in metal dust. On his workbench sat a strange prototype. Lily stared at it. What is that? Ryan smiled. Version 1. Victoria crossed her arms. You built that overnight. Mostly. Why? Ryan looked at Lily. Because you came back tomorrow. Lily smiled. Victoria didn't. Ryan, if this hurts her, it won't be used until she's medically cleared. That answer surprised her. Ryan wasn't pretending to be a doctor. He wasn't promising a miracle. He was simply solving the part he understood. A mechanical problem. For the next 2 days, Ryan worked with Lily and her medical team. Every adjustment was tested. Every strap was repositioned. Every movement was measured. Lily became fascinated by the process. For the first time, someone wasn't telling her what her body couldn't do. They were asking her what it felt like. That difference changed everything. On the third afternoon, Lily sat inside the new support frame. Her hands trembled. Victoria stood behind her. 2 specialists watched carefully. Ryan checked every connection. Ready. Lily nodded. Ryan didn't tell her she was going to walk. He simply said, "Let's see what your body can do today." Lily pushed against the support bars. Nothing happened. She tried again. Her legs trembled. Victoria grabbed the back of her daughter's chair. "Stop if it hurts." Lily shook her head. "Wait." She tried again. Slowly, her body shifted forward, her knees moved. The support frame absorbed the pressure. And then Lily rose, not completely, not perfectly, but enough. Her feet were beneath her. Victoria covered her mouth. Lily looked down. Her eyes widened. "Mom." Victoria couldn't speak. Ryan stepped back. "Don't rush." Lily took a breath. She shifted her weight. One foot moved forward, then the other. One tiny step, then another. Victoria began crying. Lily looked at Ryan. "I did it." Ryan smiled. "You did." And Lily whispered something that broke Victoria's heart. "Nobody has ever asked me to try like that before. Ever asked me to try like that before." Victoria wanted to keep the moment private, but one of the security cameras had captured part of it. The video accidentally reached one of Victoria's employees. Within hours, the story spread. A billionaire's disabled daughter had taken her first supported steps in a poor mechanic's garage. News outlets wanted interviews. Medical companies wanted Ryan's design. Investors offered him millions, but Ryan refused all of them. "I don't own a miracle," he told reporters. "I built a better support system." That sentence went viral. Soon, parents from across Texas started contacting him. They had children who couldn't afford expensive mobility equipment. They had adults who had been told they would never regain certain abilities. They wanted Ryan's help. Ryan looked at the messages, then at his nearly empty bank account. He knew he couldn't help everyone, but he also knew he couldn't walk away. Victoria visited him that evening. She had something in her hand, a contract. Ryan looked at it. "What is this?" "An offer." "How much?" "Enough to change your life." Ryan shook his head. "I don't want to work for you." Victoria smiled. "I know." Ryan looked confused. "Then what do you want?" Victoria placed the contract on his workbench. "I want to fund your idea." Ryan refused immediately. "I don't want charity." Victoria shook her head. Neither do I. She pointed toward Lily. My daughter didn't need another billionaire throwing money at a problem. Ryan looked at her. She needed someone willing to listen. Victoria continued. I've spent years buying the best equipment money could buy. Her voice cracked. And I never realized that sometimes the problem isn't that you need something more expensive. She looked around Ryan's tiny garage. Sometimes you need someone who sees the problem differently. Ryan remained silent. Victoria offered him funding, not for himself, for a nonprofit mobility workshop, but Ryan had one condition. No luxury office. Victoria nodded. No fancy headquarters. She nodded again. And nobody gets turned away because they can't pay. Victoria smiled. Agreed. Ryan finally signed. 6 months later, the old garage looked completely different. The red toolbox was still there. The cracked concrete floor was still there. But now the building had new equipment. Engineers worked beside mechanics. Physical therapists collaborated with designers. Families arrived from all over Texas. And the first person greeting them was Lily. She could now walk short distances with assistance. She still had difficult days. She still used her wheelchair. And nobody pretended otherwise, but Lily no longer saw the wheelchair as a prison. It was a tool, and that changed her entire relationship with herself. One afternoon, a little boy named Noah arrived. He was 10. He was terrified. He refused to try the new support device. Lily sat beside him. I was scared too. Noah looked at her. Did you fall? Many times. Did you cry? Lily smiled. Absolutely. Then why did you keep trying? Lily looked toward Ryan. Because someone finally stopped telling me who I was supposed to be. Noah eventually tried and took 3 steps. His mother burst into tears. Ryan quietly walked away because he didn't want the credit. 1 year after Lily first entered Ryan's garage, Victoria organized a private event at her mansion. Doctors, engineers, philanthropists, families, and dozens of people whose lives had been changed by the new mobility center. Ryan arrived wearing the same simple shirt he always wore. Lily was waiting for him. She wasn't sitting in her wheelchair. She was standing. She walked toward him. Slowly, carefully, but independently. Ryan's eyes filled with tears. You're getting good at that. Lily laughed. You're getting old. Ryan laughed. Victoria watched from across the room. Then she approached Ryan. I need to tell you something. Ryan smiled. What? Victoria looked at her daughter. For 11 years, I thought my job was to save Lily. She paused. But you taught me something. Ryan listened. My job was never to save her. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. It was to believe in her while she learned how to save herself. Ryan didn't know what to say. Victoria hugged him. And for the first time, the billionaire wasn't hugging the mechanic who had helped her daughter. She was hugging the man who had reminded her what hope actually looked like. 2 years later, Ryan's little garage had become a nationally recognized mobility engineering center. But he kept one thing exactly the same. The old sign, Mercer Auto and Repair. People asked him why he never changed it. Ryan always smiled. Because that's where I learned that broken doesn't always mean finished. Lily eventually enrolled in a rehabilitation science program. Her dream was to help other people with mobility challenges. And whenever someone asked why she chose that career, she gave the same answer. Because once, a mechanic looked at me and didn't see a disabled girl. He saw a problem that deserved patience. One evening, Lily, Ryan, and Victoria stood outside the workshop as the Texas sun disappeared behind the buildings. Lily looked at Ryan. You know what the strangest part is? What? My mother could have bought every machine in the world. Ryan smiled, but she couldn't buy what you gave me. What was that? Lily looked down at her feet, then took a step. And another, she smiled. The courage to try again. Ryan looked at Victoria. Victoria wiped a tear from her cheek, and Ryan finally understood something. He had started with a broken garage, a few old tools, and almost no money. But sometimes, the people who have the least are the ones who give the most, because a miracle isn't always a person suddenly doing the impossible. Sometimes, a miracle is simply someone refusing to give up on you.